Hello and welcome to Kashmatics. In this lesson, I'm going to go through my favourite method for doing long multiplication. It's going to be a nice quick video with 6 examples of varying difficulty. Now I'm not going to put up any questions for you to try because you can make up some questions quite easily yourselves and check the answers using a calculator. So grab yourself a pen and some paper and let's do some multiplication. Now this method of multiplication is sometimes called Chinese multiplication, but it doesn't really matter what it's called. The main thing is that you understand how to do it. And I'm going to focus on 2 by 2 digit numbers to begin with. So the first example, I've got 32 times 47. And the first thing I do is I write down the sum on a grid which is the same size as the numbers. So I've got a 2 by 2 grid here because this is a 2 digit by a 2 digit number. So number 32 gets written across the top, so 3 and 2 like that, and 47 gets written down the side here. And what I do next is I draw diagonal lines through these squares. Okay, so I'm going to draw a diagonal line from there to there, one from there through to there, and one from there through to there. And the next thing I do is fill in the grid using normal multiplication. So I'm going to start with this square here. So 2 times 4, so you go down here and across here to get 2 times 4, and that would be 8, and that's written as 0, 8. Now it doesn't actually matter what order you fill these boxes in as long as they correspond to the numbers that are horizontally and vertically in line with that box. So in here, 3 times 4, which is 12. Down here, 3 times 7, which is 21. Over here, 2 times 7, which is 14. And what I do next is I add together the numbers along the diagonals, starting with my units. Okay, so the units are along this diagonal here. So this is the furthest to the left, and this is just 4. Okay, there's nothing else along that diagonal. Along this diagonal here, I've got 8 plus 1 plus 1, which is 10. And the way to write 10 is 0, and then you carry the 1 onto the next diagonal, just like you would with normal addition. Then you do 2 plus 1 plus 1, which is 5, and then along this diagonal, I've got 1. So the final answer is 1,504. So let's do one more example. I've got 87, so I write that as 87. Multiplied by 49, so that's 49. And then I'm going to draw my diagonals. So my diagonals go there, there, and there. Now you could have your diagonals drawn already, just ready to use, but I'm just doing it in the order I normally do it in. And then we can fill in our grid. So 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 9 is 63. 8 times 4 is 32. And 8 times 9 is 72. Then I need to add along my diagonals. Remember, I'd start with the one furthest on the left. So along this diagonal, I've only got a 3. Over here, I've got 8 plus 6 plus 2, which is 16. So 6, and then carry the 1 along. Here I've got 2 plus 2 plus 7, and that makes 11. Plus another 1 makes 12. So that's 2, and then carry the 1 along. And 3 plus 1 makes 4. Okay, so my final answer is 4,263. So let's move on to some slightly trickier examples. I've got a 3-digit number multiplied by a 2-digit number, and you'll notice I've got the grids already drawn with the diagonals ready for us to use. Okay, and that's just to save us a bit of time. So let's write down the numbers around the grid first. So 325 is written as 325 like that. Okay, and 68 is written down here, so 68. And let's go and fill in the numbers inside the grid. So here we've got 5 times 6, which is 30, 5 times 8, which is 40, 2 times 6, which is 12, 2 times 8, which is 16, 3 times 6, which is 18, and 3 times 8, which is 24. And then we add along our diagonals. Along here, we've just got a 0, but we still need to include it. 6 add 4 is 10, so 0 and carry the 1. 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 4 plus 1, so 3 plus 2 makes 5, 6, 10, 11. Don't forget to carry the 1. 1 plus 8 plus 2 plus 1 is 12. Carry the 1, and 1 plus 1 makes 2. So the final answer is 22,100. Now in this example here, I've got a 2-digit number multiplied by a 3-digit number. It's the opposite of what I had just over here, but the grid is drawn in exactly the same way. And that's because it doesn't actually matter what order you multiply numbers in. So I can draw the grid in the same way because I've still got a 3-digit number multiplied by a 2-digit number. So I'm going to write down the 428 first. So 428 and then 56. Okay, so it doesn't matter what order they're written in. And let's fill in the grid just like before. So 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 6 is 48. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 6 is 12. 4 times 5 is 20. And 4 times 6 is 24. And then I add along the diagonals. So over here I've got 8. Along this one I've got 6. Along this one here I've got 9. Over here I've got 3. And here I've got 2. So that was nice and easy. There was no carrying involved. So the final answer is 23,968. And finally, a 3-digit by a 3-digit number. And this is where the efficiency of this method really becomes apparent. So let's just start as we did before. So we've got 148 multiplied by 328. And I'm going to fill in the grid just like before. So I've got 8 times 3, which is 24, 8 times 2, which is 16, and 8 times 8, which is 64. Over here I've got 4 times 3, which is 12, 4 times 2, which is 8, and 4 times 8, which is 32. And lastly, 1 times 3, which is 3. Remember, you write that as 0, 3. 1 times 2 is 0, 2, and 1 times 8 is 8. And let's add along our diagonals. Now we do have a lot more numbers to add, so make sure you do that carefully. So over here we've got 4, 6 plus 6 plus 2, so 6 and 6 is 12 plus 2 is 14, so that's 4 and carry the 1. 4 plus 1 makes 5, 5 and 8 makes 13, 13 and 3 makes 16, 16 and 8 is 24, plus the 1 makes 25, so 5 and carry the 2. Here I've got 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, that makes 8. And here I've got 1 plus 3, which makes 4. And over here I've got 0. So my final answer is 48,544. And one last one. So we've got 982. So 982 multiplied by 576. So 576. And let's fill in our grid. So 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 6 is 12, 8 times 5 is 40, 8 times 7 is 56, 8 times 6 is 48. Then I've got 9 times 5, which is 45, 9 times 7 is 63, and 9 times 6, which is 54. And then I just add along my diagonals. And over here I get 2. Over here 4 plus 1 plus 8. So 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 and 8 is 13. Carry the 1. Over here I get 1 plus 6, which is 7. 7 add 4 is 11. 11 add 4 is 15. 15 plus 1 is 16. Carry the 1. Over here I've got 1 plus 5, which is 6. 6 add 3 is 9. 9 add 5 is 14. 14 plus 1 is 15. Carry the 1. Here I've got 4 plus 5, which is 9. 9 add 6 is 15 plus 1 is 16. Carry the 1. And over here I've got 4 plus 1, which is 5. So my final answer is 565,632. And that's my preferred method for multiplication. And I hope you'll agree it's a nice, efficient method. Now, like I said in my introduction, if you want to make some questions up for yourself to try this method, then it's really easy. Just make up a sum, try the method, and then just check your answer using a calculator. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening, and I hope you'll be back for another lesson. Goodbye for now.